Hey guys, welcome to my kitchen. Another big, exciting, fun day in my kitchen. We're gonna go to Nona's kitchen today, and my grandmother would make this cookie, almost like a cracker, but this cookie, it was so delicious, and we would have it all the time, specifically around the holidays. We're getting close to the holidays, but I gotta tell you, you can have this recipe any time of the year because this cookie is absolutely delicious. So this cookie falls under so many names, like a carnival cookie, or a Venetian Carnival cookie, or crostoli. It also is known as chiacchiere. It has a lot of different names, and there's so many different regions of Italy and Europe and beyond that it's popular in. But here we're gonna call it a carnival cookie, or an Italian or Venetian carnival cookie. My grandmother, Nona Caroline, used to call it frittoli. So guys, it doesn't matter what you call it, it's always delicious. All right, so let's go over ingredients. Starting off, we're gonna need some flour. So I always like a pastry flour. It's got a low protein content. It's light, it's airy. It's gonna give you something really crisp. Next, I've got 2 eggs. I'm really big on not only cage-free, but range-free chickens. They're gonna give you a much healthier, delicious egg. I've got 2 whole eggs, 3 tablespoons of butter, unsalted. Now, real important, butter has got a lot of moisture content, so it's gonna help us with the flakiness of this cookie. If you use just an oil, it'll still work, but you'll find you'll always get a flakier cookie with butter. Next, again, in order to add the lightness and the flakiness to the cookie, I've got a half of a teaspoon of baking powder. Now we're coming into some flavor. So I've got 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Oh, so delicious. When I smell vanilla, it smells like eggs and cream and sugar. So great. Next, I've got 1 teaspoon of anise. Oh, now Nona Caroline used to make it with anise, which is like a licorice. Some people, I got about half the household here, they don't like licorice, they like almond. So you can use almond extract in replacement of the anise. I like anise. I'm the cook, I'm making them, so I'm using the flavor I like. Okay, next, I've got 2 tablespoons of sugar. Next, I've got nutmeg. Now, I've got a whole nutmeg here. Oh, love nutmeg. We're gonna use just a pinch, a breath, not even. Just 1 or 2 little grates. Add a little bit extra backdrop to that flavor. Earthy, kind of festive note. Here I have a half of a cup of powdered sugar, and that sugar we're gonna use to finish it off. Oh, it's gonna be delicious. We're gonna use a little bit of lemon zest, 1/4 of a teaspoon, just enough to give me a little citrus, a little lightness to it. It brightens the palate. Now we get into some fun, so I'm gonna use some grappa. So Nona Caroline used to use grappa. Grappa is, essentially it's peasant whiskey. When you're left over with the stems and the skins of winemaking, you would ferment, if you will, the waste product, and that'll give you grappa. The alcohol is gonna give it that bubbly flavor. So if you ever had alcohol, it's got such a low boiling point that it actually starts to create a lot of bubbles, and it adds to the crisp and the flakiness, as well as the baking soda and the butter. It's gonna be delicious. Last but not least, you need some great extra virgin olive oil. Where in the world would you get it? I know, I actually own a farm in Italy, in Puglia, Italy, right above the heel. We make our own olive oil, and we co-op with a whole group of farms in that area to bring you some of the most delicious olive oil in the world. It's called Vito and Joe's, after my 2 boys. It's grassy, earthy. Love for you to buy a bottle. You can go right on my website, my Facebook, or the link right here above. Hit buy it now. We can drop ship you a large, a small bottle, a case of olive oil right to your front doorstep. I call it a trip to Italy right in a bottle. Now we're gonna use about 1 cup of our extra virgin, and then what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna get some non-extra virgin. So when you make olive oil, those first pressings or the first extraction, it's gonna come out green, right? But you're also gonna want some gold olive oil, which means it's not extra virgin. So we're gonna use 1 cup of the extra virgin Vito and Joe's, and then 1 cup of non-extra virgin olive oil. A couple other tips going here. We're gonna use a KitchenAid. Ideally, you're gonna want either a pasta roller or press maker. I've got one right here on the end of my KitchenAid, and I'm gonna use my KitchenAid to make the dough, as well as roll out the dough to make it really thin. And that's why the pasta maker is so important. A couple other important points. You're gonna wanna get a pot high on the sides to do some frying, where you're gonna put your mix of extra virgin and non-extra virgin olive oil. You're gonna want a rack or pan. I've got one with a drip tray in there. You can also use paper towels. That'll work out great. All right, let's have some fun making the dough. I'll meet you guys over at the mixer. Best way to start this, guys, is to mix your dry ingredients. So I'm gonna mix those in first, starting with my 1 3/4 cups of flour, 2 tablespoons of sugar, half of a teaspoon of baking powder, pinch of salt. I'm using a pink Himalayan. because it's sexy. Guys, real simple, I'm gonna give it a slight mix here. Next, I'm gonna put all my wet ingredients in. So I've got 1 teaspoon of anise, or like I said, almond if you prefer, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, 3 tablespoons of softened, not melted, but softened butter. Again, if you're adding salt with a pinch, make sure you use unsalted butter. Now we're gonna use a little nutmeg here, and I'm just gonna hit a couple of passes. Oh, look at that, smells so good. Next, we're gonna use some lemon zest, so I'm just gonna use maybe about a half of a lemon, maybe a third. Here we're gonna add our 2 eggs. I like to crack my eggs in a glass jar or a glass bowl. That way I can see. I don't wanna have any shells in there. And I'm always gonna give it a quick mix with my fork. That way I always know it's gonna be well mixed within my dough. So I'm gonna add my 2 eggs. Now I'm gonna add some grappa. So we're gonna add about 2 tablespoons. And if you're worried about alcohol content, all the alcohol is gonna burn off when you fry it. So you're not really adding alcohol to it in the final dish. If you're concerned about the alcohol content, you can always add a couple extra tablespoons of water. And now guys, I'm gonna lift my mixer and I'm put it on low for about 2 to 3 minutes. Now it's been about 3 to 5 minutes. You're gonna see our bowl is clear. Our dough is perfectly mixed. It's just being kneaded here for another 30, 40 seconds. Dough's all set, so I'm gonna pull it out. You're gonna see it's just absolutely beautiful. Really nice to work with. We want it to rest. What that's gonna do is, one, we've got a lot of different flavors in here with sugar and vanilla and nutmeg and anise and all those other flavors. We want all that stuff to marry through the dough. The second part is we want the dough to hydrate. So when the moisture of the egg and all the liquid we added to the flour gets into the flour, it'll hydrate. It actually expands and changes the structure of the flour, and it makes the dough just absolutely beautiful to work with, and it adds a lot more flavor. So you see the dough is just beautiful to work with right now. So I'm gonna put it on a piece of saran wrap because I don't want it to dry out, and I'm gonna wrap it up. Guys, I'm gonna put this in the refrigerator, 30 minutes. We're gonna pull it out. When we're done, we're gonna start making some Venetian Italian cookies. Talk to you in 30. Guys, it's been 30 minutes. And the dough is perfect. So I'm gonna get my pasta maker going. We're gonna start rolling out sheets of dough. First thing I wanna do here is cut off a small piece. You're not looking for a huge piece of dough. And then I wanna wrap this up to keep it nice and moist. Now I'm gonna come over to the pasta maker. If you can see here, there's measurements along the dial. So you've got 1 essentially through 8 on most pasta makers. So I'm gonna put my pasta maker on slow. Now I'm gonna press the dough down and I'm just gonna let it roll right through. Now fold it in half, fold it in half again. So here I've essentially got 1 large rectangle. Now I'm gonna go to 2. I'm just gonna keep rolling. If you don't like the edges, just roll it together and it'll keep coming together the way you want it. I'm gonna go to 3. Remember, this isn't pasta dough, so it's not gonna have the strength of pasta dough. My dial's on a 3 right now, guys, so that is the perfect thickness right there for a cookie. And now, guys, real simple, I'm just gonna cut it into squares or like rectangles. And then traditionally, you're gonna put a couple of slices right in the middle. And that's gonna give it a nice curl. It's gonna give it some nice texture. Couple of tips that make these come out absolutely delicious. Number 1, most importantly, if you hit that red button to subscribe and you click the bell, the notification bell, hey, any new trips, any new recipes, logging with Boreal will come right to your notification box. And hey guys, it means a lot to me when you subscribe to our channel, and hey, it makes you part of the family, you know what I'm saying? Secondly, you probably already did, I was gonna say secondly, but don't forget, grab yourself some oil. I'm gonna finish cutting these up. I'll meet you over at the fryer. Guys, time to make some cookies. My oil's about 325. I don't want more than 350. We're gonna start setting these in and start frying. Don't leave sight of this. These are gonna cook really quick, and it's a tragedy if you waste one of these. I'm just saying. There's one of our cookies right there. Oh. Guys, it's been about 1.5 minutes. You see we got some beautiful bubbles. See that nice little puff in there from your grappa and your butter? And that is just perfect. Once you see a nice little light brown to it, and you see those nice beautiful bubbles, just take them right out. These have been out just for a minute or 2. Now I'm gonna take my confectionery sugar and I'm gonna go ahead and dust everything. I don't wanna hit it when it's hot, but I don't wanna wait till it's cold. That way it'll stick. Isn't that gorgeous? Guys, these are all set. I'm gonna plate them. Talk to you guys in a minute. Hey, you guys wanna make friends? That's a plate that'll make some friends for you. Isn't that absolutely delicious? You just smell the butter and the sugar and the vanilla and the anise and the flour, the eggs, I mean, man. So my favorite time before the troops start coming down, I gotta taste one of these puppies. Looking for that perfect bite. So I've got it dusted with sugar. The back isn't, so you're gonna get that nice sugar flavor. And I just wanna show you, I don't know if you guys can hear this, but you're gonna hear like a crack. So it's almost like a cracker, almost like a cookie, just delicious. See how airy it is inside? Just thin enough to give you the bubbles, thick enough to give you a nice taste of cookie in your mouth. Yeah, you can smell the anise, the vanilla. See that nice little bubble? First off, absolutely delicious, molto buono. Secondly, what's great about this cookie is that with the sugar, it immediately gives you that sweet flavor right on the lip, on the tongue. And then what happens is you start eating it, you start to have the cookie, and then as you chew on it, it just gets more and more delicious. All the flavors of the vanilla and the butter and the sugar, the anise starts to come through the back. My favorite with this is a latte. I sit there with a cafe latte and a couple of cookies. And when I say a couple of cookies, I'm probably lying. I mean a couple of plates of cookies. The only part missing on my favorite part of any recipe and tasting it is sitting here with my grandmother, my Nona Caroline. Boy, I'll tell you, what I'd give to sit with her. Better yet, what I'd give to sit down and watch her cook and then eat what she made for me. Nothing better. I'm so blessed. I have so many great memories when I was growing up as a kid. Hey guys, thanks so much for joining me in the kitchen today. Remember, red subscribe button, hit the bell notification, become a subscriber. Hey, make you part of the family. And don't forget, on our website or Facebook or the link above below, grab yourself a bottle of Vito and Joe's, a trip to Italy right in the bottle. Love to drop ship you a bottle. And remember guys, my most important tip, shut off the cell phone once a week, shut off the TV, get away from the computer, sit around the table with your friends, your family, your mom, your dad, your grandparents. Celebrate your heritage, set some traditions. They'll last you a lifetime. I know they did for me, guys. Hey, from my kitchen to yours, until next week, mwah, buon appetito.